Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Vanna. And we're going to be doing a little demo around the new Gigaspaces partnership that we have a look at the smart DIH software. So I've spun up a demo environment. We're going to go into that a little bit, and we're just going to explain high level what this is all about. And last week we showed you the architecture. We'll just do a quick recap. You'll remember that we have multiple data sources that we're bringing into a in-memory data grid. And the whole idea is that we are able to actually very, very quickly generate API that we can actually attach and serve up to our applications. So if you have a look at the screen, you'll see that this is what is called Space Deck. And Space Deck is your environment management environment. Now, this is just a demo. It's not fully populated. We don't have any of the rules and access based stuff. We really just have the core application that we're working with. So under management, we have the host that this is spun up on. You can see that is the actual host itself. And that's where, your actual DIH platform will live. And then we have this concept of spaces. Now, we have this demo space, and that is where all of the data that we're collecting is coming together and being pushed into, right? So when we actually click on that, you'll be able to see all of the information about that space. This is effectively the database within Smart DIH and all the monitoring components around that. I'm not going to spend too much time on that there, but that's really how this is set up. And you can see effectively where all of the data sources are now actually talking into it, right? So we've got an account, we've got customers, we've got loans, there's some transactions happening. And I've already switched on those pipelines, so you can actually see that those are the transactions that's already been imported into that space. Now, let's have a quick look at the sources, the ones that populate there, and you'll see that we've spun up 4 sources already. A MySQL database, we've got a Microsoft SQL database, and then Kafka, and also a MongoDB. So this is all being processed, and I'll just show you very quickly what it basically needs to create a new one. So you create your source name, for instance, you give it its source type, user and password on that in the description. Then you can save that connection. Effectively, all you're doing is creating a way of talking to that database, right? So MySQL, you have your topics that you're publishing it to, and all of those areas. So when you're creating a new service, you'll be able to fill in all of those elements in there, and then these pipelines effectively start running, right? So once you've done that, you actually go and create a pipeline to which you actually then say, this is the pipeline name, the space that I need that to go to, and what type of connection am I making to one of those data sources that we've created. And here you can specify a few different things, like your data format, what is it coming in at, and some advanced settings as well in terms of just how you want to process those. And then, include multiple components to that. So that's the pipeline itself. So we've got the connection layer, the pipelines that feed into that. And that's how we get the data into the data source itself, or into the DIH platform itself. Now we can start running queries along this. Now, if we want to check, before I actually go there, I want to show you guys here on MongoDB, we can see what table we've got from Mongo. So in Mongo, we're actually pulling the customer table itself. All right, so we can see that's the one that we've got there. And then if we go back, I want to show you in the MySQL, the table that we've got there, that's the accounts table, right? So 2 very different types of databases, for instance. So if we had to go and write a query, we're effectively going to go into the space we want to talk to, which is the demo space. And let's just run a very simple query that will take from accounts and from customer. So if we remember, accounts is from Mongo and customers from MySQL. Let's connect that, and we want to pull out where the ID is equals to 192. It's a known ID, and as we can see here, I have the information of both those 2 data sources, right? So 2 very, very different systems of record. MongoDB sitting somewhere, MySQL DB sitting somewhere else in the environment, pipelining, streaming the data up into the DIH platform, and here we're able to actually then create those queries. And I can then save that query, and I'm going to call this, what am I going to call it? Let's just say WC underscore ACC dash cust for our query. And I can actually bring that query up on a later stage, all of the different ones that I've got saved over there. How do we then turn this into a API service? Well, very simple. Let's go through to the service itself, and we're going to then create a new one. We want to create that service from a SQL database. So we pick our a SQL query, should I say. We're going to give it a server name, so we're just going to call it WS service. And what we want to do is just select the query that we've used, right? We got that there. Run the query, make sure it works. Yes, let's create the service. And as you can see, it's going to start that service up. The service is started, and there's the URL to that service. If I click on that URL, there we go. It pulls back all of the information related to that, and that we can then share with an application and effectively, turn that into a variable as well, where we can actually then utilize that format very, very nicely. So that was just a very, very quick demonstration, really just going through what is a space, how do we connect the data sources and the data pipelines, and then how we create a service on an API. And this has taken us only a couple of minutes. So thank you very much for joining our first demo on Gigaspaces Smart DIH with data sciences, and we'll be doing a few more of these into the future. Thank you. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow our LinkedIn page.